Well, when I belonged to writing groups, we'd be given projects to do, and they'd said, well, let's write about the seasons. And everybody writes about how wonderful the leaves and things are and all that. I thought, can't really be bothered with that. So anyway, this is my effort about seasons, and I've called it Darren's Seasons. Darren loved the spring, but wintertime depressed him. He hated cold, dark, early mornings when he had to get out of his warm bed for work. He hated being a storekeeper in the factory where he worked for half of his 32 years. But for his special pastime, life would have been meaningless for him. Springtime raised his spirits, and he would take long walks through local parks and woodland. It was often on these outings that he would encounter young women out walking their much-loved dogs. He could usually strike up a pleasant conversation, making complimentary remarks about a pet. This manner of approach was successful for him and could result in the forming of a close friendship, and he enjoyed these friendships. By summer, he would have developed a strong relationship with one of the young ladies he had met in spring, and they would take long, happy walks. Occasionally, they would enjoy an evening meal or a theatre show. He was happy in summer. Words could not express the immense feeling of well-being and serenity he experienced when the sun's warm rays caressed his back. Through the last of the late summer evenings, he could feel autumn emerging, and as he made his weary way to the dreaded factory storeroom, the cool, sharp morning air would snap hungrily at his fingers and toes. The lightness of spirit which had taken him contentedly through spring and summer was leaving him, and he was plunging into the inescapable depths of despair. He could fight against the despair for a while, but the feeling was too strong. It was predestined. The trees had worn their autumn hues long enough and were already casting off every last leaf, conserving energy, going into the deep sleep of winter, which would take them through to a lustrous spring once more. He knew that that which seemed so dead in winter would come alive again in spring, full of vibrant energy and loveliness. He knew this was so, just as surely as he knew day would follow night. The ground beneath the trees was deep with crisp, colourful leaves, a rich kaleidoscopic carpet, a warm blanket on which to lie, or under which to cover oneself. He walked with his love hand in hand, each dragging their feet through a thick bed of rustling leaves. She tripped. He caught her, guiding her to the ground. He sat beside her. She loosened her jacket, and he undid his tie, and taking it from around his neck, used it around hers to draw her closer to him. He kissed her gently on the lips. She responded tenderly. He held her tightly, his kisses becoming more impassioned. Gripping the tie firmly and crossing the ends, he pulled them taut. Crisp, colourful leaves covered her limp body as she lay peacefully beneath a large old chestnut tree. Sharp frosts would keep her cool, then the winter snows would come. There she would lie, serene and calm, until the spring and her rebirth. She would not look the same as before, Darren knew that. Her hair may be different, her eyes another colour, but he would recognise her again, walking her dog through the woods in spring. Darren loved the spring. I didn't let him get away with that. I did eventually write a story where he did get caught. But